think last time I was on here, I was world number 1. And unfortunately, I went overseas and got caught with a big shot.
Zerafa's eyes saying, he's done.
It was a wake-up call. You know, a lot of people saying, you know, the best Zerafa's gone. I think the best Zerafa yet to be seen.
Michael, Pretty Boy, Zerafa!
I was training day in, day out, 2-3 times, 5-6 hours a day, you know, world title. I got to the point where I was obsessed. I always say you're better to be underdone than overdone. And I always use the analogy of people, when they do meet me, they say, oh man, you're actually such a nice guy, man. Like, and that's what hurts. The fact that they had this thought of me prior to meeting me. And even Tim, despite our hate against each other, and I wish him all the best. And I do as a fellow Aussie, both top 10, both number 1 in the country. If he wins, I win, we unify. But it's shit sometimes we see other Aussies bringing other Aussies down. There's not many of us at that world level.
The fight didn't go your way, like you said, and you got your shot, but the mindset after that...
Take us to the moment you lost, Zerafa.
Man.
Welcome to the Little Fish Podcast, bringing you extraordinary stories to inspire big moves. If you're planning a knockdown rebuild, dual occupancy, or townhouse project, don't risk getting it wrong. At Little Fish, we manage the entire process. We get it done faster, cheaper, and stress-free. Scan the QR code or visit littlefishproperty.com.au. Links in the description. Let's get into it. Fresh off a statement win and chasing the respect he has earned, Michael Zerafa's back with a belt on his shoulder. There it is. Let's go. And a few things to get off his chest. Let's go, mate. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Dude, this is
Mate.
insane. Have you tried to pick this up?
No.
Mate. That's
It's
the
heavy.
real deal,
It's
dude.
heavy.
Oh, that's not one from Thailand, is it?
Nah. Black Brown.
That's the real one, man. WBO.
One of many.
That's the real deal, man. Like, for real, man.
That's a piece of jewellery.
How does
Mate,
it
so
feel,
what have you been
Zerafa?
up to other than just bashing heads in?
Yeah,
What's going
literally.
on?
I've just been training in the gym. You know, I'm always staying ready. You know, I want the best. I mean, I had a bit of a setback. I think last time I was on here, I was world number 1. And unfortunately, I went overseas and dared to be great and got caught with a big shot in round 2 against, you know, the best in the world in Lara, and you know, fell short in that world title. And you know, it's a fight that I didn't really, you know, want. Obviously, no one wants to lose, but it's a fight I felt like I needed. I got very complacent. You know, being out of the ring for 18 months, I got very, just complacent and just doing the same things. You know, repetition in the morning, run, do my second session, go home. I was just waiting for that time. So it was a wake up call. You know, and as sad as it was, I worked my whole life to get that opportunity, and I got that opportunity. And you know, I was straight back. I had my little cry, my little pity party, and then I was back in the gym, and it sparked that fire. And being 33 too, as you get older, you know, some say you lose it, but I felt like for me, it's made me more hungry. And then, you know, I've gone back to back now, 2 straight wins, and you know, my last one was a bit of a statement because you know, a lot of people saying Zerafa's, you know, the best Zerafa's gone. I think the best Zerafa's yet to be seen, and you know, I was real complacent. I was real cool, calm, collected. I fought a guy that was tough. You know, hadn't lost since 2016. You know, he was a former IBO, I think, a world champion, and he had a lot to prove. I was training with Tim Tszyu, my rival's team.
He's a veteran.
Yeah, you know, and he was training with my rival Tim Tszyu's my team in a good camp. So I went out there and made a statement, took what's rightfully mine, and yeah, now we're top 10 in the world again, and you know, making noise.
Amazing. And you want to come on Australia's #1 podcast and
100%, the best in the biz.
tell us about it. So the fight didn't go your way, like you said, and you got your shot, but the mindset after that
take us to the moment you lost, Zerafa.
Man.
Right? Because I'd love to be, what was your initial, what's the first thought that you can think, and where were you? And then take us through the first couple of days, man. Because when you're all in like you, and when you believe so much, and you really, it's destiny and all of that, because you have to, otherwise you're no chance, right?
Yeah.
So you have to. And then when you fall short, how the fuck do you rationalize it to then keep believing and move forward?
Yeah, look, it was the hardest part of my career, you know. Any loss is, because it's just pure disappointment. I mean, you try to be strong because you got, you know, people that look up to you, whether it's family, you know, younger brothers, older sisters, or, you know, nieces, nephews, whatever, friends, family, that small circle. You try to be, you know, you try to be strong, but I was gutted, man. Like, it was like a hole in my heart. You know, like I said, I was in the back rooms, and I had my little cry and whatnot because I busted my ass working for that opportunity. You know, I was world number one, and I think just the time out of the ring, that 18 months was a long time. A normal camp, you know, goes for 12 months. You know, and it's hard 2-3 times a day for 12 months. I was doing it for 18 months. I mean, 12 weeks. Sorry, I was doing it for 18 months.
Yeah.
So it was mentally draining. And then by the time I got to fight time, I was kind of like burnt out. And even warming up, I was just off. And I knew, you know, even in the back rooms, my trainers, my team, my partner, everyone was just like, "What's, you know, you're all right." I was like,
Really? Was
yeah,
that
yeah. I
far
knew.
out?
I actually said prior to walking out, I said, "We're going to be back here pretty early, man."
Really, dude?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that like you're a bit stale or something? Like, do you
Yeah.
need that? Like, I'm not a fighter. You boys are fighters.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Couple of fighters.
But do you need that like in the ring to you know, every so often to keep yourself sharp? Like, it
Yeah,
sounds
like-
like a long time between drinks to.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
exactly right. And
to
I
apply your
say
craft.
like underdone is I always use it, even the young fighters, up and comers, guys like yourself that have had 1 or 2 fights. You know, I always say you're better to be underdone than overdone. And I always use the analogy of cooking a chicken because
Yeah.
if a chicken you take it out of the oven and it's underdone, you put it back in, you can get it perfect. You can get it perfect. But when you're overdone, it's done. You can't go backwards.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's like overtraining, the same thing. I was training day in, day out, 2-3 times, 5-6 hours a day. You know, world title, world title, world title. I got to the point where I was obsessed. And I'm obsessed with the sport. I'm obsessed with being the best and trying, you know.
And
but
you're not letting yourself off the hook.
yeah, you know,
I'm with you, man.
100%.
I
you know,
understand that mindset,
every
man.
morning runs, every night runs.
No
or-
matter how you're feeling,
Yeah,
no
you
matter
know.
where you're at, you're like, I've committed
Correct.
to this.
Yeah.
There's no ifs and buts.
100%.
No off the hooks.
And what was the worst thing is it was never like, oh, the fight's off, so Mick will let you know when it's on. It was just always postponed.
Yeah. So they just
So,
kept dangling the carrot.
Yeah, so it was, oh, we're on March. Oh, no, we're on June. Oh, look, it's now September.
What was it, Zerafa?
The-
What was delaying the
Just
fight?
the contracts.
Really?
Yeah, because Lara was in the process of fighting Danny Garcia, and I was the mandatory. I was the world number one, so he had to fight me, and it was just getting like delayed. So
Yeah.
I was always doing, you know, 100 rounds in sparring and doing all my work and everything. And it was like, oh, now it's June, so now I'll do another 2-3 months of another more sparring. And fight time came, I was cooked.
Well, you're trying staying at your peak, I suppose, for too
for
long.
18 months. And
Yeah.
look, I burnt out, and I mean, it's no excuse. I just, I knew I was going to come back early, and
So it wasn't. So that was interesting because one of my questions I was going to ask is where did you think you went wrong, or what did you think you could have done different on that night? And it sounds like it had nothing to do with that night. It was just the
it was months
circumstance.
prior.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, every day.
The
and it was-
preparation
Yeah.
and- yep.
Like there was times where I'd go for runs and like I'd actually like cry, but it was nothing was even sad. It was just the body was just that broken.
Yeah. You
You know,
push
like
yourself. That's
and
wild.
I'd get back and, you know, be like, fuck, why am I? Why
Your
am I not
greatest
sad?
strength
Yeah.
became your greatest weakness.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was just tired, you know, like the inside was just physically like done.
Yeah,
And it's hard, you know, like I'd recover. I was eating, I was doing everything right. It's just for too long.
Yeah.
You know, it was like driving a Ferrari just with the acceleration full pedal, you know, like down. It was just,
I think being in the public eye, Zerafa, and being somewhat polarizing like yourself as well, you know, what did your mind go there and think, oh, these fuckers are just going to be, you know what I mean?
no, I get it all the time, you know, like, you know, the Fox Sports, they've said, you know, you got the gift of the gab, you know, my promoters, no limit. It's good and it's bad, you know, because obviously playing the villain, you get the platform. I mean, you know, the Anthony Mundine, you know, the Floyd Mayweather's in every sport,
Absolutely,
Nick
yeah.
Kyrgios's, you know, in every sport there's one, and it's great. It's great to see that, you know, I said, well, mate, Zerafa's by a mile that person. But then when you switch off, you know, so when it's fight time, it's mad, you know, in the public eye, there's people watching, you know, whatever, but it's that time when you go home and there's no boxing and you're getting drilled. You know, sometimes you wake up and I'm like, man, I'm getting death threats. I'm like, God, this guy doesn't even know me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's
So this
sometimes
is online and
I get it all
yeah.
the time. I had a brawl with one yesterday. He was just drilling me. He's like, oh, you know, you're this, you're that. I'm like, mate, like, I feel sorry for you. You know what I mean? Like, and
But yeah, Zerafa, why do you I suppose why do you engage in it? Do
yeah,
you know
I
what
don't
mean?
usually. I
Because-
don't usually, but sometimes like some of it's just out of line, and you think, you know, well, I'm gonna
Yeah, this
pro-
dude needs to be
yeah,
checked.
Yeah, you know, if he
to
was
be
in front
fair.
of me, there'd be some hands thrown or
Yeah,
some
yeah.
teeth taken. But even my brother said, you know, he goes,
You know, can say outrageous shit.
yeah, but he goes, you know, why are you even engaging it? He's like, mate, don't even waste your time.
Yeah.
And then 1 or 2 messages in, I'm like, yeah, why am I even bothering?
Because unless they know you, because we've met, this is the second time we've had the pleasure of
Yeah.
meeting you, Zerafa, and you're nothing like the
Yeah, yeah,
perception
yeah.
of what
Well-
the world thinks that you are, right? So
Mm.
I guess, and you know that, and the people that love you know that. So I guess you just got to go, you just ask yourself when you read it, you go, does this person know me? No, fucking.
yeah,
it
well,
doesn't
that's what I
matter
do
they say,
that now, and I switch off. I don't read anything, and then people, you know, when they do meet me, they say, "Oh man, you're actually such a nice guy, man." Like, And that's what hurts. Like, the fact that they had this thought of me prior to meeting me, like I'll do anything for anybody. You know
Well,
what I
who
mean?
cares what other people think until you meet them, Zerafa? And it really
that's
only
true,
matters
yeah,
when
yeah.
you meet them and you have a relationship.
Correct, yeah.
That that you are who you are. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. On this sport, I've got to
And
meet
you've got to,
amazing
and
people.
it's a fighting sport, man. And
Mm.
when you're picking fights with people, you're going to come off looking like a goose sometimes,
yeah.
and sometimes you're going to come off looking like a gangster.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? You can't.
And that's what I say.
control
And
it.
Fox will say, mate, the way you speak, and sometimes I watch back on some of my press conferences. I'm like, I don't even know how I got half this crap. Like, I don't even know what I think of half this stuff.
man.
And it's great. It flows off the tongue and it just rolls. But, like there was talks that I might be fighting Keith Thurman. And straight away they said they didn't even talk about the fight. They just talked about the press conference. That's going to be mad. Zerafa, Keith Thurman. This is going to be outrageous. You know what I mean? Who's going to win this? And hands down, I said straight away me. But yeah, sometimes it can get annoying, because people will have this perception of you prior to even meeting you. But then, being the bad guy, you walk into a room and it's like, you can feel the aura change. Like, oh fuck, Zerafa's here now. It's different. But then
Marketable, man.
But man,
you know
what
I mean?
changes
Yeah,
everything though? What clears it all? You become a world champion.
well, that's it. Yeah,
It's all over. It
And
doesn't matter, man.
I've
The
won it.
world, everyone loves you because
Correct,
you
yeah.
just did it. It doesn't,
And people say, people can say what they want, and that's another thing I love too. Like Zerafa's the bad guy, he's a villain, but where I've been and what I've done in the sport, it holds credentials. You know what I mean?
Without a
I've
doubt.
beaten everyone. I've fought 11 world champions. I've won every regional belt. Fought for 2 world titles. Been in their backyard. Fought the
traveled,
champ.
absolutely.
I've beaten everyone in the backyard. The only one that left is that Tim Tszyu fight, and that will happen eventually. But we're on different paths. He's the golden child. And I'm the bad boy. And sadly the bad boy.
I saw something about his team coming out because we're neck deep in it right now, really, aren't we, Zerafa? So,
100%.
like saying something about maybe that fight was never going to happen, but maybe you should think about fighting his brother Nikita. Is that? I'm sitting here going, being a fighter, knowing you're a fighter, I go, well, that's not ideal, but fuck it, I'll fuck him up. But then if you say that you'll fight me if I have to go through him,
Yeah.
bet, let's go.
Well, the fight
Two paydays.
The fight's always going to happen, and this is what people don't understand. People just see me or my team or his team, and then they think, "Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth."
Yeah.
We're both signed to the same promoters.
Yeah, true.
You understand? And there was a reason why the first fight didn't happen. It just builds for a bigger fight. I've got a contract in place. I can't say too much, but he's amongst that contract.
Yeah. So he's in there somewhere. Yeah.
Ah,
So
so
the-
that's written in, like
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of the
yeah,
part of
yeah,
the play.
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I can't
Part
say
of the
when,
macro
where.
story.
Yeah. So, and the idea is, we both get world titles, we both unify, in the process of that. But, he's got a younger brother, and it just builds because they've got obviously the last name Tszyu.
He's undefeated, right? So you could go and take his own.
100%.
Go and take his zeros.
Yeah.
Imagine that builds the story for Tim.
Well,
That's
what
what
they
I
want.
was.
That's
yeah.
what they want, But I'm
And
more than happy to do
they're
so.
the one that put it out into the universe.
Correct,
it was
yeah.
their team that said, "Well, think about fighting Nikita."
Yeah,
Go,
yeah.
Bet I'll take him out.
Yeah,
take
yeah.
his O. And then there's nowhere to go, and then that builds that fight into what would already be one of the biggest, if not biggest,
Correct.
all time.
And the same thing, it still goes. It's still a Zerafa via Tszyu.
Yeah,
So it's still the same headline.
yeah.
And that's what they want, because me fighting any one of them is a sellout.
That's
stadium.
That's a.
And there's plans and talks that could happen, and I'm more than happy. I said that after my last fight.
So
If I
you're
have
up for So that was one of my questions
Yeah,
today. Would
yeah.
you fight Nikita?
100%. If it makes sense financially, or it's going to move me up the rankings and give me a world title opportunity, I'll fight anybody.
Or if they guarantee to fight
Yeah,
Tim, you go, mate,
100%.
I'll take it, man.
100%. Not like the other guy. I got my phone. Did you watch the fights yesterday?
Yeah, that Fardy. Yeah, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
they
yeah,
called
yeah.
you out.
Yeah,
So what's he 9-1?
Yeah.
I looked him up. He was 9-1.
Yeah, I got no idea. Well, I wasn't even watching the event, and my phone just went crazy. And
I saw your
you
post, which is what triggered me.
Oh, yeah.
Where
I
you
was
were pissed off. I go, he's pissed off about something.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
going
And
on?
I was like, they're like the Brendan Bradford, one of the guys goes, "Oh, what do you reckon? What's your response?" And I said, "I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm not even watching." You know what I mean? But look, it's
good he's calling you, but
yeah,
man.
like
And I went and researched it, and to respect to that kid, to that fighter as well, he's calling his shot, man.
yeah. Well,
And
he said he wants to
and
fight the best.
And he wants exactly Zerafa. He wants to fight up, and he wants to fight the best. And if you're the best, then you're going to get him calling you out, and you're not going to know who they all are, because the real gangsters, because the fighters, man, the real
Correct, yeah.
gangsters will fight the fucking best,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not everyone will, man, because some of them are on a career path, they need to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
money and they need to stay safe or whatever, right?
Well, I had his whole team reach out to me, and I said straight out, I said, respect to the
Yeah,
to the
yeah, I
fight. I
love
said,
it.
mate, I didn't watch the fight, and I've never heard of him. Respectfully, I said, but
I love your response as well. You've got to call it as it is as well, man.
And I said, I've earned my stripes. I fought the best, and I've got there. You know what I mean? I didn't get there by calling guys out on demand. I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy. I worked myself up in the rankings, and I fought the best, beat the best, and cleaned out my backyard. This guy respectfully wants to fight the best, and I understand that. But there's a time and place, and nothing financial is going to come from that. He's got nothing I want. Looking up to me.
Yeah, you fighting
I get
backwards
it.
for that. Yeah, absolutely.
But me looking at him, it's
a good
rewarding.
call out from him, knowing that he's probably never going to get the fight, because now you do know who he is, right?
Well, correct.
So the next time he fights, guess who's probably going to fucking tune in?
Yeah.
Because he knows someone's coming for him, and you
100%.
know what? He could be who he says he is.
Yeah.
So you need to be ready, right?
Well,
when,
100%,
when you're at the top, they're all coming for you. So
Correct.
if he is who he says he is, you need to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I liked your response as well, which was like, sit down, mate.
Yeah, just chill out, just calm down, But we got to do that. You got to put them in the spots, because a lot of people.
Well, you've had it happen to you, dude.
Well, that's what. Well, I've given guys opportunity. That's what I mean. I've cleaned out my backyard. You know what I mean? And this guy's he's sitting at number 5 or 4, whatever he is, and I'm number 1. Fight number 3, fight number 2. He's trying to go straight to number 1. There's a path that you got to take. Hardman did it with me, and he kind of annoyed me. That's why I took the opportunity, because I knew I'll beat him, and the whole world was, oh no, Hardman's too big and Zerafa's too small, and
I remember that
I said,
fight,
the biggest mistake you did was sign that contract, and me and Hardman, we hated each other, and we just had a personality clash and whatnot. And I'm sure I've actually never really caught up with him outside of that whole build up, but we just generally hate each other. So it made it a lot easier for me to hurt him, and I knew I was a skills pay the bills, and I knew that fight was going to be an easy win for me. And obviously we stopped him in the second round, and we shut him up. And so we
was a good noisy fight.
And we've given these guys the opportunity, but again, there's nothing for me fighting a guy that's 9-1. You know what I mean? Like respectfully.
So, mate, you're up in Craigieburn, dude. I've been following along pretty closely, man. You've got the gym up there. What's the plan with the gym? I know you've got the family and the teams growing out, like Team Zerafa. You're taking on the world now, man. You're signing big deals. I know I saw you at the function for the Melbourne Victory.
Grateful for that.
Yeah. Fox Sport. Is it Fox Sports?
Yeah,
Fox Sports. Tell us all the crazy shit that's going on, man. Because what happened? You know what I fucking love, man? You did, dude. You went and you lost, right? But you got back up, and you've had 2 fucking good wins, man, and you put yourself back up on top, and now they're all coming back. So, tell us.
That's what I do, man. I wake up and I'm always just working, whether it's in the gym training or it's on my laptop or making calls, sending emails. I'm always trying to be better. I opened up the gym, and I opened up the gym because I hate going to America. I didn't open it for a business, to be quite honest with you. I thought, how can I dodge going to Vegas for 12 weeks? I hate it over there, and my team's over there. And I thought, why don't I open up a gym close to me and fly my team out? I've got great sponsors, I've got great support and whatnot. I can, financially bring them down here. And as soon as everyone found out I opened up a gym, I had people whilst I was training knocking on the door and, oh, is this open for the public? And, whatnot. And my missus goes, why don't we just do an open day? And before you know it, it was pumping, and now we've got an awesome crew down there at 13 rounds in Craigieburn.
It looks the Curta too, man.
Yeah, it's the best little studio, and I mean, I've been to gyms all around the world, and I know the vibe's different. I know it's mine, so I'm going to be a little bit biased, but just the vibe's different. I mean, the people that are there, the colors, just the atmosphere, even just the car park's better than every other car park I've been to. Like, it's closed off, it's big, it's safe, it's amazing. But yeah, like I said, I've just been in the gym training. I train 5-6 hours a day. Then at night time, I clock on, and I didn't hire any PTs or personal trainers like that, because I wanted to be amongst it all and get around them and teach the kids and whatnot. And then my brother then just finished his course in personal training. And
your brother, who you tried to match me up on,
in
a fight with in 3 weeks.
Jace. He's done his personal training
and
his nutrition and all that stuff. And so he gives me a huge chop out, and I've actually just employed him in part of the team. And
shout out Jace.
A huge asset to the team in pay holding.
Come on, Jace, get Jace on. Come and tell us what's going on, man.
Yeah, Jay, bring him over.
Jace, man. We wanted to bring you on, man. Like, tell us, mate, like, to watch your brother, I suppose, you get to watch your brother be the villain, right? Yep. So you know who he is, and obviously that would be tough, right? Being Zeraf's brother in some circumstances. But tell us now, like, you've just joined the team.
Yep.
What's changing? What's the plan? What's your role? And where are we going?
Well, look, you got to hold yourself accountable every day. Being brand new to the team, there's not a lot that you can teach someone at his level. So every day I'm trying to work my own brain and improve as a person so I can help him. That's the biggest trick to it, is just trying to work every single day and implement new things that can help Michael, because coming on now this late into his career, there's not many that you can teach him.
But you've been there. Have you sort of been riding shotgun most of the time
Always,
anyway?
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Being his only and his little brother.
Yep. What's the age difference, boys?
6 years.
Yeah, right.
So,
So so you weren't really bashing him because he was too little.
Well, I was, yeah. Like he was one of those kids where I'd bash him, but he'd come back days later and get me, something
would
on
he?
Monday,
Would he?
So
Yeah,
he'd
yeah.
let me get the win, but then he'd come back and clock me 3 days later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Gotta keep him
it's
honest.
hard.
But can I ask you about that? I'm fascinated about that, like from your perspective, seeing Zeraf, get the hard time and get pinned as a villain, and I love that you've lent into it, Zeraf, because you should, because they're better off as long as they're talking about you, man, and they're paying, and then they're paying to watch you. It's better than don't know you exist. But
Well, exactly, yeah.
what's it like for you, man? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, look, I'm not just going to say it just because he's in front of me, but he's always been a really good brother. I'm not just saying it because he's in front of me. He's got a heart of gold. So, and we see it all the time. We hear people talk about us. We get it face to face. When we're in different states.
no doubt, man.
Yeah. So to see it, look, it sucks, but you can't change it. There's no point trying to change it as long as you focus on being a good person. That's the main thing that happens. Always giving to people that are in need. If you can help someone, why not?
And just know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I always, because I know it's hard, and I see that on my brother. It's not easy, like having a whole country that he's represented so well for so long.
Yeah, just keep that bit nice and
So-
close. Yeah, no.
It's hard to see, a country that that mix represented at such a high level for
Yeah.
so long.
So passionately and
And
patriotically, I suppose. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, proud Aussie.
He's done it very well, and
Yeah.
I've seen it from firsthand. We stepped into the first ever gym that we trained at was a garage. So we both walked into that garage together, and to see him go from this garage to where
you
he is
walked
now,
into together on the same day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that is absolutely
Yeah,
outrageous.
so-
How old were you, Zara?
12 maybe.
Yeah.
12?
Yeah,
give or
yeah.
take, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Michael, talk to us. What made you want to bring Jace on? What obviously he's your brother, but you can't just be bringing people onto your team because they're your brother. That's not how you win world champions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously he's got something that you're seeing.
Well, I've always known his boxing brains, probably better than mine. He understands the sport just as good, if not better than me. So, and it started with him just being in the gym because, he passed all these, certificates and whatnot. I said, bro, I've given you the platform, use the gym. He was doing, and he was just doing just a casual PT, and just the way he was holding pads and what he was saying, I was like, man, this, I said, oh, let's just run a session together, man. And
Do you get you at a discount?
Yeah. He's costing me an arm and a leg. There's no mates rates here, you know what I mean? Or fucking, but and I'll say this, for me, because not many trainers can hold the pads for me, because my timings, it's great. And it's hard to just get on that same wavelength. And the first session he was just there, and like it was just gel. We just gelled. And I was like, man, why didn't I do this way earlier? And I've had great pad holders in the past, and I just felt like, this could be, and I've got him at my own kind of calling. Hey, bro, I need pads. We got pads Monday, Wednesday, for all, whatever days
Yeah,
it may be.
yeah.
We're smashing out 4 or 5 times a week, and he's watching me spar and implementing this, implementing that, and
So it's just another watchful eye.
yeah. And he's a natural southpaw. So it's going to benefit me moving, if the Nikita fight does go ahead, or, if there's a southpaw in a Lara fight, if I get another opportunity,
Yeah.
where was he when I needed Lara, when I was fighting
yeah.
Lara. But he's just boxing brain, he's great.
Yeah, right.
And,
So you didn't tell me that when you were trying to match me up to
yeah,
fight
yeah.
him.
But yeah, no, it's just,
That's
like I said,
amazing.
it's just good having him around. And yeah, like we smashed out sparring this morning, pad work this morning. We're in again tomorrow. And it's just good. Because like in Australia, sadly, a lot of trainers aren't full-time trainers, so they've got jobs, and so that's one of the things I struggled with, like, oh, hey coach,
Getting a full time. I know that as well,
Yeah,
because
you
I did mine, as you know, I did mine. It was hard to find someone. Even the boys that had the gym, shout out to Empire in Thomastown, legend.
Yeah, I
the
know
boys
them,
down
yeah.
there. Yeah, do you know the boys down there?
yeah, I know, yeah.
Man, legends. But it's hard to get. They've got commitments, right? They're living their own lives, and then I just go and drop. I've got to fight on them.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I found it was hard. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, hey coach, can we do 10 a.m.? He's like, oh, I got work. Can we do 6:30 at night? And it was just, it was always hard. So
tricky.
at least now, I already know my week in advance. My
Which is
strength.
what you need if you're going to be a world champion, man. It has
and
to be methodical, right?
Correct. And I'm training 5-6 hours a day, and I've got my sparring booked in, my strength and conditioning, my sprint work, my hill work, my pad work.
What have we changed since? What did we change after the loss where you overtrained?
Yep.
That's put you on the 2-run fight that you've looked amazing.
Yep.
What did you change? What was the
be-
main thing that
To
you
be
changed?
honest, it's all mentality. Mentality and add a lot more recovery. Shout out to Kiva Wellness, who's decked out my house with a full recovery center. Which he nearly died in it yesterday. So his boxing ability is not as good as his ice bath.
Oh well, I'll take him in 3 weeks then.
But yeah, like they've set up my house with a full recovery kit. With ice bath, infrared saunas, and all that stuff. So I'm doing that 2-3 times a day as well. So I'll train, use it, before bed, use it. My diet's improved. Got nutrition on board as well, and everything else. So it's just literally the 1%ers. I know it sounds cringy, but it's literally those 1%ers.
And being consistent. And like I think you just explained it then, just calibrating your training schedule so that it works for you, not works for the people that are trying to train you and stuff like that.
And training is meant to be as much as it's meant to be fun.
Are you spar? How often do you spar? Sorry.
Twice a week.
Every week, twice a
twice
week.
a week,
And what kind of rounds? And
so depending on who it is, depending on who we fight,
so even when you're not training for a fight, you're still sparring.
Still, I've got boys in the gym that we move around. We moved around this morning, and we've got amateurs, we've got pros. If not, I'll get people in, or we'll fly people in.
What do your weights are at?
I'm 74 kilos.
Do you ever get any trouble with a long jab?
You know what I mean? But we're always training. The sparring, the intensity changes, obviously.
Right. But you're always sparring, but you
Always,
might bring in, and then the rounds will go up, and the intensity goes up.
But with where I'm at now, because of the years of boxing and the hard spars, now I do smart. Sparring's not that important. People thinking, oh, you need a spar, and careers die in gyms. All the UFC fighters saying it too. I've seen people in sparring sessions where I'm watching it like this, like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like the brain cells they're losing.
But it's fucking strange, man, how it elevates. No one means it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
I always say, because when you spar, it's meant to be 100%.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that why it elevates is because someone will go 60%, and at first round, second round, someone will go 70%.
Yeah, man.
And then that's when it takes off.
100%. And then it might even, that person might not even be going 70%, but they just, they land a 60% clean one.
Yeah.
And that just pisses the other dude off. And then they think that wasn't 60. Next thing you know.
Yeah. We got one of those guys at the gym. Like we chuck him in there, and he'll chuck on a pair of 8-ounce gloves and just start swinging at like 15-year-olds. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get out of the ring, But yeah, the intensity changes when you spar. That's just. But I feel like you work on things. When you go on.
So you're not just sparring. You it's more technical sparring and controlling.
It's what you do in a fight. Like I've seen people have that hard of spars that they don't make the fights.
Yeah.
Because they're like cut, broken bones, or just battered. It's meant to be calculated, and what you've been working. Like if me and Jay are doing Monday to Friday work, let's try it Saturday for sparring.
Yep.
You're meant to be game planning and implementing what you're doing.
Strategic and intelligent about it.
Yeah, like when I spar, I put my head there, bang, I'll get hit. All right, I'll put it there, I'll get hit again. I can't put my head there now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put it there, I'm safe. I put it there, I'm safe. Now I know. I start dissecting where I can and can't be. Some people walk in the gym and they just want, I won that spar.
Yeah.
That's not boxing.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm at a gym that no one's like that. Thankfully, I'm at a cool gym where definitely no one's like that. But at the same time, what I love about it is, like you said, if my hand is not where it should be,
you'll get popped.
I'll get popped, man. And so you should. And if you don't want to get popped, and they'll normally go, "Fuck, you all right, mate?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I just got to keep my fucking hand up."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And there's nothing more I love than hard sparring. Don't get me wrong.
Same, man.
There's times where I'm in there and I'm like, man, I love this.
Oh, I love it when
yeah.
you know, right? You just know when they shape up.
Yeah,
how
it's gotta
they
be
shape
on.
and how they set.
Yeah.
You just fucking know, man.
Yeah. Well, I've had
I
spars.
love it, man. I love it.
I've had spars with
I shit myself. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I've done it my whole life, so I don't get nervous or scared or anything. But I've had 12-round spars where people are like, man, like, how are you doing this? We've sat there in the center of the ring. I've done it in Vegas or England. We sat center ring and we've just punched on. shot for shot for 12 rounds,
Yeah.
you know, like, and then there's times I take my headgear off. I'm like, man, I just want to sleep, you know, like, but you need those spars. Don't get me wrong. You do need those spars, but there's time and places.
Because you need to be like, especially for me, for someone that's learning, you need to put yourself under pressure, right?
Yeah,
You need
well-
to under duress. Like if you haven't had a fight before, if you don't do the hard sparring, if you don't have guys better than you walking you down, and you end up in the ring with someone that's slightly better than you walking you down, it's going to end pretty quickly.
Put yourself out of your comfort
Yeah,
zone.
you've got to put yourself out
Yeah.
of your comfort
But even
zone.
that,
for
you know,
sure.
like if you get in there now and I get me in there and I'm just coming at 100%, you're not learning anything.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
All
100%.
it's going to do is just it's going to cook your head. You're
Yeah.
going to say, you know what, bro, I'm not boxing. I've got no
Yeah,
hair.
that's true too.
You're not thinking, man, I'm sparring the best. You know, it's going to just crush your confidence. You're probably going to get hurt.
I'm going to come up and move around, but
Yeah, no, 100%. No, but
100%, man.
that's what I'm saying. But like,
Yeah.
there's a time and place.
Don't elevate me.
No chance.
Don't fucking elevate me.
But yeah, like it's just some people just don't understand. They just want that. Oh, I won that spar.
I think you're right. I think that's early, but I think you get caught out pretty quickly in good boxing gyms. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, of course.
most people, like it gets called out pretty quickly in
Yeah,
most
yeah,
boxing
yeah,
gyms.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
most people, well, I haven't been into as many gyms as you, but I've been
Yeah,
lucky
yeah.
to been in a few, and a lot of them, they're all trying to stay safe and look after each other.
Yeah. Well, overseas is different, man. You know,
Yeah.
like I was.
Oh, mate, Thailand, dude. I was like, same.
Yeah, well, I was with Freddie Roach. I was with all the
Oh,
world
were ya?
champions there, so I was contracted there. I was sparring
Where's his
multiple-
gym in
LA.
LA? Yeah.
I was there. I was at DLX. I've been at Top Rank. I've been at all those gyms, and like you walk in there, it's another. Like I got stood over by a girl as soon as I walked in. Like,
What do you mean?
like so she was warming up. She wasn't sparring me, and she was just over there, and I was getting ready to spar one of the world champions before Lara, and I was stretching out and stuff, and I was like, oh man, because they had the heaters on, and I was talking about how hot it is in the gym. And I was like, man, you Americans, you guys do it different. Yeah. And she heard me say something about Americans. She's got out the ring. She's walked over. She's like, what'd you say about Americans? And I'm like, I just paused. I'm like, what? She's like, what'd you say about Americans? I said, oh, no, you guys just do things different to us. She goes, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, what the hell, man?
Wow.
Had cornrows. Just,
Have you ever been to Brizzy Brothers?
yeah. Sam, I
Man.
know them well. Yeah.
Dude, we shot a pod. Hasn't come out yet.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
shot
yeah.
a pod with Sammy
Yeah.
in the ring, dude.
He's a legend. His boxing IQ is unbelievable.
Mate,
too,
he's
yeah.
like walking into that gym as well, like just hearing the history and the story
Yeah.
and stuff.
That,
and
but
the
they were
people-
one of the first, I think.
Man,
Yeah.
if it's a 50-year-old gym.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
incredible,
I know
man.
that stuff,
Incredible
And they've done
story.
great things for the-
Generation started in a backyard.
Mm.
Man, like
They've done great things for the amateurs.
Yeah,
You know, his old man,
involved
his
with the
uncle,
amateurs.
and everything.
But
yeah.
Pete will tell you, we went there, man. We walked in. Pete walked in. This is his comment. The first comment he said, I'm in there with Sammy and Bonnie. And Pete's never met Sammy. He walks into that gym and he goes, fuck, did Rocky fucking train here? Because that's what it felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to train there, and you know, I've been to a lot of gyms, man. You know, like in Melbourne, because I always want the best, and I feel like trainers, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Zerafa's gone from gym to gym." It's not, I haven't gone gym to gym. You know, I've always
What
left.
do you think of that? Because I'm a newcomer, and I do notice that people like they're very gym centric. Because I'm like you, I'd love to float
I
around.
love that. You know, I love it.
floating
And
around,
I
learn
always
from different
leave. Yeah,
people.
that's what I mean. And Bruce Lee was the best one ever do it. You know, he learned
Yeah.
everyone's style. But for me, you know, I feel like trainers sometimes can only take you to a level, and then you're kind of forced to go.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not there in their head for you to become a world champion, or you know, they got their life, their family, their job, their business, and they can only take you so far. So then you can either stay there and just
And level out.
yeah, or you know, hey,
seek-
leave on good terms. Hey, coach, I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to go overseas and go up a level, or you know, and they, you know,
And it can still always be your home, and
Yeah,
always
you
the
know.
place you play homage to and respect and whatever.
Yeah, I
but-
just love learning from everyone, you know,
Yeah,
like because
same.
like where Sam Prizzy's absolutely great in areas, and I've learned so much from him. You know, another trainer will teach me something else, and overseas, I'm like, oh, is that? And I love just learning.
So do you
man.
know Jeff and Ant from and Pep from Empire?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure they follow me on Instagram, or
Yeah.
I know them well. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's a good gym. Thomastown, yeah.
Thomastown,
that's
yeah,
right,
legends, man. Jeff's hands, like
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You might go there and learn something from him, and
Yeah.
then you come to me and you're like, oh, okay, oh yeah, Jeff did. Oh, he did mention that, but I
Yeah.
thought, and you learn.
Well, I
you know,
noticed
like-
that when I did, because I did 16. I'll tell you what, I did that 16 weeks before I went to Thailand.
Yep.
And I did it at Empire.
Yep.
So I learnt their style, right? And it's the only style I'd ever learnt.
Yeah.
And then I went to the gym in Thailand. It was Russian.
Yep.
and me coach for me fight. So I did 7 weeks with him. It was Russian, right?
Yeah,
so
you learn different stuff.
completely different dude. So it was from that movement in and out movement. It was more keeping the jab out and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His hooks and stuff.
That's why when people say, "Oh, he's not loyal," and it's not about loyal. It's about like I want to get the best out of
Just
what I
learning.
can. What I want to, I want to try to, if I've got 10 years, I want the best out of that 10 years. Like if someone opens a business, you want the best for your business. For me, I've gone.
Yeah, so going to one course off one dude and only ever doing that.
Yeah, I want to learn 20 courses and be, a master of 20 things, not one. And a lot of people sometimes have something to say about that. Oh, he's gone to gym, and it's like, no, well, it's not the case. I've gone just to try to better myself, and then I've implemented trainers from overseas now. With multiple world champion fighters over there. In Nonito Donaire and his partner Rachel, and Linares was keen that he wants to help out too, and there's so many people that want to work with me.
People are starting to take notice.
Yeah, and it's sad that we live in a country, and I've done so much for the sport. I've been around. I was fighting when Mundine was winning world titles. I'm the only one that's still around from that era. And to see sometimes the hate that I get, and that polarizing, that villain role.
Would you agree? It is softening, but maybe that's just me softening. But I feel like it's softening, Zerafa, man. I feel like around the Hardman times, like it was probably because you were being vocal and that. Like, maybe is it still that bad now? Would you say
it's still it's bad when it comes to me and Tim.
You just of course. Okay,
because
so
that fight
just a
didn't happen.
rivalry.
People just think I didn't want that fight. Man, I pushed for that fight. Man, a week of the fight, I'm telling you, he's lucky.
I remember it was the COVID thing and getting
it was
the
just
team.
just management team, just certain things.
Things happen for a reason.
Well, I agree.
Man, this fight is going to be so much bigger once you sort out Nikita and then you take your Nick. Everything happens for a reason, man. So
and and
even Tim, man, Tim will say like he's on his own path as well, man.
Well, we don't need each other.
His path was going 100 miles that way, and he's had to take a bit of a and
it does. I just want people to know that it wasn't on my end because he's lucky that fight didn't go ahead. Man, that fight was.
I think you're both lucky because you've both been able to go on this path. And I hope I'm assuming. Do you see the Volk?
Yeah.
Hopefully the Volk inspires you both.
Yeah. Well, I was actually talking to him. I'm actually good mates with him. I was talking to him 2-3 days ago. He was checking in on me, and
mate,
he's an absolute legend.
He is the man. Like you just look at that guy and do what he does and think how he thinks. Because like he just did it.
Yeah.
He just did it tenfold. Like he just did like uncomprehendable.
We need a Volk statue, I think.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like you
100%.
can't comprehend the adversity that this guy went through, and then
everyone wrote him out.
Yeah, man, and then he comes back and he does what he did, and it just got to show you and Tim that it's just an even better, man.
Well, they even say
story,
like
dude.
even the commentators and the ring announcers. There's one guy that came up to me in particular, and he was like, "Man, how are you still going? Like with what you've been through, the hurdles you've had to jump, the teams that have tried to derail you, the management that's tried to derail you, promoters that have tried to like." How are you still going? He goes, once you win a world title, he goes, the story is going to be on another level. Absolutely. And that's for me, like inspires, that's what gets me up every morning because I manifest this every day that it's going to happen. It's a matter of time.
And man, I think the world has shown, the universe has shown is if you stay on the path long enough, only
you just don't give up.
You just don't give up. Yeah.
You just got to keep going. Eventually, even if everything goes bad, a bad day can only last 24 hours. That's what I always say. And then the next day comes, it might be another bad day, but it's only 24 hours.
Correct.
And, if you just stick at it, eventually in that journey, people are going to drop off because they've retired, they've given up, they've quit. And you're going to get that opportunity. And, I had that opportunity. I've had that opportunity. And, I'm top 10 in the world. I think I'm sitting at number 7 in the world now.
How crazy. That's wild, man.
Yeah, everyone I see my
division
name.
too, man.
Yeah, huge division, stacked division.
Yeah, so can I ask Zerafa, man, we can't have you on ice for 18 months, dude. You need to fucking fight, bro. You know what I mean? And the thing when you get into the top 10, I don't need to tell you this, that's when it gets complicated with the contracts and you can't fight backwards. You got to fight upwards. Otherwise, so then you're at risk of being on ice again because that's where you're at. You're at that inflection point again.
Correct,
where you either need to maybe take a Nikita Zoo fight and risk it all or, and risk it for something great, different.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like how do you get these guys to sign up, man?
For me, like I said, if it moves me forward, even if they're behind me, if there's a
Right.
vacant
So you
title,
don't. You're not. It's not necessarily about a number by their name.
no.
It's about just getting
Correct.
bigger fights.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just want to build.
For me, there's
bigger
only
fights.
one position that means something to me, and that's number one.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, if they ring me that guy that called me out that night, if they ring me up and say, Mick, we've got the vacant world title and it's $500,000, I'll fight him. It's an easier fight for me.
Yeah. So you correct me if I'm wrong as well. So you've just signed with Fox and you've signed new promoters.
Yep.
So is that all going up? Everything's going up for you,
So I got a
Zerafa?
3-fight contract per year.
For how many years?
For 2 years.
So guaranteed 3 fights
Every year.
Yep.
So that's 6 fights.
One of them we know
Yes.
rhymes with shoe.
Yes. So I've had the first one in, the tough German I had, and now the next one is looking like August. It's a stacked division at the moment, and like I said, I'm willing to fight anybody.
August, where do you reckon?
Well, there's talks that it's going to be in Cairns. I mean, nothing's official. I don't know why.
Why is that?
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Okay.
I've got no idea. I
Good
mean,
place.
yeah, big
Fighting a
mate,
crocodile, mate.
But Cairns I heard, but Sydney, obviously No Limits, my promoters, Fox Sports, KO, all those guys, the production crew. Like I said, I just want to be busy.
Yeah.
I'm 33 years old. I feel like mentally it's the best. And I say this because you're young and dumb. I feel like when you're older, you mature. Just even when I'm boxing, like just the smarts, and it showed in my last fight, and everyone was saying, there's glimpses of the old Zerafa coming back, but it's the old Zerafa in an older body, more mature body, more mature mind. So I feel like there's a storm coming.
Yeah,
I'm the storm.
I love it. There's a storm coming to your gym in 3 weeks as well, just
Well,
quietly.
the thunder from down under.
It's no good for me.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Well, man, let's bring PK back in. So talk to us, Zerafa, about the gym. Have you got has it inspired? I know it wasn't a plan, but knowing the kind of guy that you are, you go all in on everything that you do. And I've seen the gym; it looks insane, mind you. The 13 rounds, the branding, the white bags and stuff. Any interest in because obviously your fighting career is not going to go forever.
Correct.
Is that are you thinking maybe I could start building out a fight gym and you could find some fighters and go down that path, or are you thinking just a gym for kids and more of a community gym, or what are you thinking?
I
Man?
always said once I'm done with boxing, I'm done. I didn't want to be in the sport. Yeah, I've always said it. I feel like I want to, hang them up and just try something new. Whether it be another
golf,
another sport, another profession, another business. I don't know, but I love it there. The banter's there, and
but handing down that knowledge,
yeah, well, that's what I say.
It's
I
a
love
martial art. It's a martial art, and if you really, really love it, and for someone that has traveled, you said it, dude. You have literally passed through all of the best gyms in the world, and you know what I mean. So what you don't realize is by default that you've picked up all of this knowledge and stuff that you can pass on, that then lives on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, it fucking dies with you, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's true, and that's what's getting to me now because I see all these young kids that have just walked in the gym. They're 15 years old and they just love the sport. They've never gone anywhere else, and then now they've been at the gym for say 8 months, and from where they were and where they are, it's like watching one of your own kids.
It has to be fulfilling.
Yeah,
man.
I'm like, man, good boy. That's what I want. That's exactly what and I see it and I'm like, it does put a smile on my face. And even like the older guys, I got these, these older guys. Well, I shouldn't say older guys because they're not that old, but they're older than me and
Younger than me, I bet.
Well, how old are you, mate? I don't know.
46.
No, they're actually a little bit older, but
Buzz that out, Bonnie. It's not good for me fight career.
But to see these guys come in here that have had injuries or no motivation, just something's happened.
Changing lives, man. Changing the direction of people.
Yeah, but you do it unintentionally, and it is that. So that's probably what's going to keep me.
Fucking cool,
doing it.
man. There's a
Yeah,
kid. I don't want to call him out. There's a kid that I've noticed that's been popping into Empire. He's an older kid because he's in the old gold class, but I feel like his parents have dropped him in there to give him some confidence. And watching him out the corner of your eye, you can see it building, man.
Yeah.
Like this
that's what-
underassuming kid that obviously, may have been given a hard time. I have no idea. I could be making this up and I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
But this is just me seeing this kid in there, and I've seen his mum and I think it's his sister there and supporting him sort of thing. But you can see him, man.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like
And
building confidence, dude,
mm-mm.
and getting stronger and more coordinated and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of that, man.
And that's what I mean. I've had my parents come up to me and saying, pull me aside, and it was when I went to the school and I did a talk and stuff like that, and because he was getting badly bullied, and it's sad. Like, how can a kid get bullied to the point where he's only how old are you in grade 3? Like 8, 9? How old are you?
Younger, man. Yeah, 6, 7,
7, something
7,
like that.
7,
Yeah, and
7.
he wanted to take his own life. And it's powerful stuff. And then to know that I was there for an hour talking and pulling him aside and giving him a bit of motivation and whatnot, to then him going home and him wanting to change his life and stuff. Like, the parents came the next day, and were like, "Thank you so much," and just
That's just got to mute all that other shit, man.
yeah, like, it's just crazy, and that's what's going to keep me in. As much as I say I didn't want to hang around a sport, the feeling it has unintentionally is amazing. Like, you wake up, you're like, "Fuck, I'm tired today," but
Well,
I
it'd
get to
just
see
be
the
sad
smiles.
for it to stop there, and I just think of the Brizzy brothers again, right? Because again, it started with his uncle and his dad. You know what I mean? In their garage, and 50 years later, like Sammy, he couldn't fight. He had was it epilepsy or something? He had something where he couldn't actually fight.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was his dream. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But he's just passionate about passing on that legacy
Knowledge,
and those
yeah.
that learnings and that knowledge, so it doesn't die with his dad and his uncle.
Correct,
Doesn't
yeah.
die with him. That lives on. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, 100%. And like I said, he's
I
probably
love that,
one of the
man.
best in the country for his boxing brain.
And that's what the guys at Empire are doing now,
Mm.
right? So they're 2015 they started, and they're doing it their own way.
Do they do taekwondo as well?
No, upstairs they do jiu-jitsu. My
Oh,
kids
jiu-jitsu,
do it.
yeah,
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 it's Bestnik Jiu-Jitsu, man. What's his name? Murat Bestnik, man.
Mhm.
He's a savage, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
My kids do it up there, dude. Jiu-jitsu, yeah. So that's upstairs, and then downstairs
that's right,
is the boxing. So yeah, it's good.
That's good, man. And the community building down there at the gym, like having all those people behind you when you
Yeah, that's bad too. You're
get
like,
out in the ring. Like,
Yeah,
is that pretty
the-
cool?
when
Yeah,
you're
well-
fighting, mate, they get the TV out down in the gym. That's
I've
the
got
shit.
these little kids that are absolutely probably my biggest fans. It's cute. They make sure that the pay-per-view's bought and they buy my merch and stuff like that. And yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's having nothing to then having all these people, flying out. Even when I fought in Sydney for my last fight, we had a huge crew come out from the gym, and it's mad. It's amazing. It makes it more, like, you want it more, if that makes sense. Like, you're doing it for not only yourself, your friends, your family, that small circle. You got other people that you winning put smiles on their face. And it's a nice feeling.
You know what I just
Heavy is the
realised?
crowns, Raph.
Man,
Yeah,
man.
well,
And you know what I've just realised, Zerafa? The first time we met you, man, I feel like there was a bit of a chip on your shoulder, and you were sort of, you know what I mean? I really feel like you're way more relaxed now, man.
Yeah.
And do you agree? Like, you're sort of just more chilled about just looking at it all differently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
love
feel like
it.
that's what I want to get out.
Yeah,
because
yeah, it
this
does.
is me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But sometimes
The last time was you as well, but it did feel like you were carrying some more baggage
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time. It was a bit heavier last time.
Yeah.
This time you're a bit more accepting and understanding. And yeah, man,
yeah.
winners
I've got
are
to feel
fucking
back now from
winners,
carrying
baby.
this,
Man, he was world number 1 last time as well, man. So
Yeah, yeah.
And but winners are grinners. But man, mad respect to you, dude, because
appreciate it,
you're
yeah.
doing it in a public eye, and I sit back in awe, and I'm sure people because. To do what you do, like when I asked the question way back at the start, how did you feel in the exact moment when you lost? The reason I asked that is because the whole fucking world's watching, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't just lose basketball on a Monday night.
Yeah.
You just lost, where you just talked it up. You said it. You've done it.
Yeah, yeah.
All the shenanigans, and then the world's watching, and everyone's having an opinion, and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And you put it all on the line.
Mm.
So does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I mean. I was just, I was gutted.
Yeah.
I was hollow.
But now you've experienced that, and then you've come back and you're here. I feel like, you're at a different place now where
Yeah, I
you
just think
understand it at a different level. And
mentally,
Yeah.
I just feel like I felt like I always had to be that character all the time. And, and it's like,
it becomes
what?
heavy.
Yeah, it does. I'm walking around with a sore back.
Pretending all the time is hard work, man.
Well, yeah, I
that's
shouldn't
why
be boxing.
lying's hard.
I
you know what I mean?
should be acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just felt like, I'll just chill out, be me, and the real people will stay. Those
Authenticity does win, man. So I feel like if you stay authentic long enough, Zerafa, and you keep winning, mate,
yeah,
like, you can't
and
lose.
people and even my last fight. I mean, afterwards, I had a second to decide, am I going to drill everybody or am I going to be
Yeah.
Michael Zerafa? And the promoter, I knew, because he told me prior, he's like, I need you to fire up and, go this and go that and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I just want to thank everyone that came out,
Yeah,
whether
you
you
were
like or you hate
respectful
me.
and you still-
Yeah, whether you love or you hate me, thank you for coming out to support. This is what Aussie boxing needs. It's a tough sport we fight. We play, and you can't play this sport, So, and even Tim, despite our hate against each other, and
He was there.
yeah, and I gave him props. I said he's going into a fight, and I wish him all the best. And I do, as a fellow Aussie, I
And you
wish
should, man.
another Aussie
Yeah.
the best. I hope he beats Fundura.
And if you have to
class,
fight
man.
each other,
Yeah.
so what? It's a sport. That's what
100%.
happens, man. You know what I mean?
And I hope he goes on because
Same.
I'm not far behind him. And not in terms of the ranking. I'm the same.
It's good that we've got two blokes up there.
Both
you know?
top 10, both
Yeah.
number one in the country, both fought for world titles, going for another one. I'm about to go for my one too, So if he wins, I win, we unify.
Let's go.
So I want him to win. And any Aussie I want to win. But it's shit sometimes we see other Aussies bringing other Aussies down. There's not many of us at that world level. You know what I mean? And I just try to put bums on seats, eyes on the sport. And like I said, whether you love or you hate me,
Well, things are shifting, mate, because Melbourne Victory could have picked anyone to be an ambassador,
Yeah.
and same as Fox Sport, and I suppose they weren't banging down the doors in the past, but they're banging down the doors now. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, 100%.
So obviously there's a shift and change happening, man.
Correct.
But winners are grinners, mate. That's what
100%.
happens.
As long as we keep cashing in those checks and winning those fights, we're wrapped, And I just want to keep, proving that age is just a number. I'm 33, and
You're a baby, man.
the best is yet
33.
to come. I've had 38 pro fights. So that's a lot. But like the best is yet to come. I mean, I fought the best, beaten the best, and I feel like I got way more to give. The fun part's starting.
Awesome, man. Well done.
I
Congratulations.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
We're coming to the next
Been
fight
good
too.
following along.
We're coming to the next fight.
100%.
Fucking know.
We'll fly out the
Up
crew.
the cans.
Fly
Yeah,
up
we're
the whole
doing it.
camera
Yeah,
crew.
yeah.
We'll get everyone backstage.
That's if I make it through the bloody Zerafa fight night in 3 weeks' time. Hey, is there headgear? No headgear?
What do you want?
No headgear.
You want no headgear?
Yeah, because they made me wear headgear last time, and right 1 minute before the fight, I'm going, man, I've come all the way from Australia and going to make me wear headgear, and they wanted me to wear headgear. But yeah, I'd rather no headgear.
Gee, 16s or 10s?
So
Gloves.
I'd probably 16s.
All right, so we're gonna go fucking.
No, I'm not going fucking 10s.
He's going all
no.
in.
No,
He's going all in.
Well, you've gone 16 to 10s. What about 14s or something? You know?
Fuck. I don't even think Australia sell 14.
Yeah, no. But no head. I would say no headgear. What would you guys be doing? What would you
Well-
probably saying headgear? Because I was going to actually. This is a serious question. Before, and I know PK is looking to wrap up, but this is a serious question I was going to ask when you said earlier that when you spar and you take your headgear off. What do you think about headgear?
I hate them.
Because I try not, I would prefer, even when I'm sparring, I prefer not to wear it.
Yeah.
Because I've actually gone and read some stuff, and the science, the actual science is inconclusive.
Yeah, well-
about whether you're wearing it, whether it helps or it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like when you're not wearing it, you're a bit more, you appreciate that you're not wearing a headgear. Do you
Correct.
know what I mean?
Well, for me, you don't fight in one. So when you fight, we have no
They fucking
headgear.
made me.
Well, when we fight, we wear 10-ounce gloves, no headgear. So when we spar, we're meant to wear 16s and headgear. So when you fight, it's completely different.
It makes no sense.
Correct. And when I wear headgear, well, your vision's not as good.
And does it make your head bigger?
You're more of a target.
Yeah.
So
That's
you-
true.
You get hit more. So like if you're pulling back, you got a bigger head.
Yeah.
So I only started wearing headgear the last year. My whole career, I never wore them. So
They never tried to make you.
Well,
'Cause
they
most
tried.
gyms you go into, they make you wear. Like, and as they should. They're looking.
Yeah,
after safety.
some said were like, oh, and I was like, I don't wear them, man. You want to spar me? I don't wear them. If you want to, I can go home all sweet,
Yeah,
or if they're at
yeah.
my gym, whatever, like when you got world class sparring, you don't knock it back because it's very hard to come by, So yeah, I just used to go through my whole career, and I mean, you get scuffed a lot more. But
What about in your gym? Have you got a head? If you spar in headgear for the kids and stuff?
the guys, the less experienced guys, I do just because. Not because of the headgear, just because they're generally not as experienced in, head clashes and whatnot, or an elbow or something.
Anything? Yeah.
They I don't want them getting cut and, getting stitches and whatnot, or getting hurt or knocked out or whatever. But yeah, I agree. I think headgear,
Yeah. So no headgear. 3 weeks. Game on.
done, 16s.
16s.
And the new, good.
And you. Hey, hang on. Did you say there's going to be a 13 rounds bout or trophy?
There's a
Am
big
I going-
one. There's a big one for you.
I'm going
It's
for the
got
title.
13 rounds champion.
Oh, dude.
And we've got
Let's
shitty
go.
runners-up ones if you want to.
No, easy.
Only for you, though, just for you, all right?
I'm in, man. I'm in. Let's go. I'm going to win the inaugural 13 rounds championship.
100%.
Let's go.
First of many.
Bang. Is there a few weight classes in there?
Yeah, there is. We've got up to heavyweights. There's got one guy who, again, unbelievable, walked in at I think 140.
Yeah.
He's down to yeah. It was funny because when he stood on the, I've never actually
What was the date
weighed
again?
someone that heavy. After a certain weight, it starts back at 0 again, and you got to add it on.
Yeah, no shit.
And he came in at what was Dunk's 140 something.
Oh, really?
145. So when he jumped on, I was like, man, it says 40 kilos. Yeah, but it's after 110, it goes back to 10, 20 again. So it
Yeah,
goes
right.
around.
You got to clock it.
Yeah. You got to add it up. So you got to do a bit of math.
And so what's it? And you said he's got down to something?
He's
is it?
down to 132 in like the space of 3 weeks? Yeah, 2.5 weeks. He's already lost
Good stuff.
10 kilos, 12, 13 kilos.
That's
whatever.
awesome.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Zeraf, well done, man. And thanks again for coming on.
Thank
and well
you.
done for everything you're doing. And
I appreciate it, man. You guys are doing
looking
great
forward to
things.
heading to the gym.
Yeah,
Well done,
legend.
Jason.
Thank you to you as well, Jace, man. And
Well done,
for
brother.
Zerafa, mate. Let's do it,
I
dude. Let's
appreciate it, guys.
fucking go.
You're a
World
legend.
title, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's
100%.
go. Look forward to watching. See you at the top.
People want to be part of a winning team. People can find a better version of themselves if they choose.
You just need to go start some shit.
Action is all that matters.
Be a man of your word.
I think I look back now and I'm like, whoa, that took some guts.
Be kind, be kind, be kind.
See you at the top. New episode every Wednesday.